All right, y'all. Ain't no hashtag when Marcus J is live. We in the building, ready to get into a fabulous show as we do every single week. We got a lot to get into tonight. We're going to talk about a history lesson. We're going to have a history teacher that's going to jump off the show for us. We're going to talk about both parties failing. We're going to talk about keyboard gangsters. And we're going to end the show tonight with a whole lot of fun. We got special guests in the building. We can't wait to introduce them to y'all. Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J is live right now.
It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
they must be half stepping.
ain't no half step when Marcus J is live. We are in the building. Be down with us. 804-402-2893. Be down with the flagship show heard live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. Thanking everybody for rocking with us tonight on the flagship show. Thanking those folks that are listening to us from our website directly on www.legacyinternetradio.com. Thanking those folks that are listening to us on their smartphone, tablet, or computer on TuneIn. Thanking those folks right there checking us out right now on Facebook Live. Y'all rock with us. We roll with y'all. We appreciate those folks listening to the replays right now on YouTube and iTunes. Got a lot to get into. We got special guests there. You can see the door right there, Facebook Live. They're going to be coming in here soon. Y'all will hear them. But we got some special guests that's in the room. And, of course, you heard my co-host on the top. I'm going to introduce her here momentarily. But first person I want to introduce, joining us here live in the Den of Legacy Internet Radio tonight. He represents our Thursday night show, our biker show, All Throttle Radio.
What's up?
We got our brother Solo up in this joint. He's
Solo, New Breed Riders, baby.
He is so excited.
What's up, baby? What's up, New Breed All Throttle Radio?
Yeah, he is excited.
Throttle Kings, baby.
How you
Vicious,
doing?
what's going to LUR, baby? What's happening, bikers?
He giving out shout outs. You see? What the hell was that?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to learn the
Don't
boards.
be shy now.
I'm trying to learn the boards. I'm trying to learn the boards. I'm going to shut up now.
He's learning how to produce tonight, and so he's in the building. And of course, you know, you got a mic, man. So if you hear something you want to get in, just tap me on the shoshoulder. I'll make sure that you get in.
Up.
Nah, man, we ain't got that kind of show, man. You here, you having fun. We all have fun together. That's what we do.
I'm here to learn.
Yeah, you here to learn too. So shout out to our brother Sean, who just checked in. He's looking at us on Facebook Live, as well as my brother June. What's up, June? Checking you out. See you checking
you out,
in
June. What's
as
up?
Well. Of course, you heard her on the intro just now a few minutes ago. She is my big sis and yours, my co-host of this show, S.Y. Butler. What's up, baby?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing good. You
I
got
see
the
Solo is just so
Yeah,
She is over there
excited.
looking so
yeah.
good.
My goodness. He's wide open. Yeah.
She's in the house. She's in the building.
No, I'm talking about you wide open.
Because she's in the building.
Why, thank you.
So what's up, big sis? What's going on?
Nothing. It's Monday. It wasn't a bad Monday. I feel good.
You in a good mood?
Energized and all that good stuff.
You in a good mood today?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ready to rock and roll and have a fantabulous show and everything?
All that, baby.
You ready?
How about you?
Yeah, man. We got a lot that we need to get into. I kind of alluded to it a little bit in the intro, and we'll make sure that everybody has an opportunity to kind of get their comments and things in. If you want to be part of tonight's discussion, call us at 804-402-2893. That's the number to dial to be a part of the discussion, 804-402-2893. At this time, of course, I want to introduce the First Lady of Legacy Internet Radio. Been a while since she's been here, but she is here in the building with us tonight. She's grabbing the mic. She is our sister and yours, comedian Lissa P.
Ow, ow.
What's going on?
What's going on?
How you all doing
Internet
today?
Radio family. I am gravy, baby. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing fantabulous.
He got a new word.
How do you spell that?
Fantabulous.
Are there any dashes in between?
F-A-N.
Dash.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You. I mean, if you want to put a dash in there, or fan-tabulous.
Fan-tabulous. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's crazy. There's a girl. Her name is LaDasha, and like it's LA-A. It's LA.
We talked about that.
Yeah,
didn't
we did. Yeah, the girl is like you pronounce the
It's
hyphen.
probably a friend of his.
You pronounce the hyphen. I don't know her.
You don't know
No,
her?
I don't know. It's like you see
know
her
my
name on
name
the
is
screen,
LaDash,
and you be like,
D-A-S-H.
yeah, can I speak to La? You're like, huh? You can speak to La? Who's La? My name is LaDasha.
But you know what?
LaDasha.
I work in a call center, so I had a lady actually call me one day, and when I asked her for her first and last name, she was like, yes, my name is Deborah. And I'm thinking to myself, dang, how do you spell Deborah? So when I actually looked her up, it said Deborah. So I'm like, okay, Deborah with the twist. So yeah, she was excited about her name. So yeah. But I'm happy to be here. Legacy Internet Radio family. Oh, we're going to have a good night. Y'all just don't know.
Yeah.
It's on.
Yeah,
it's
we
on.
gonna wild.
I'm feeling perky.
We gonna wild out. We gonna wild.
He took my
Where's
other one.
mine?
We
But
gonna-
Where's mine?
your
that was
brother
at your house?
stole
Where's
yours.
mine that was at your house?
Oh, I drink that
Yeah,
the
see?
day after you left.
See, it was
Don't leave.
in my part of the room
Oh, good
by my
grief.
bed, and she drank it.
Let me just let you all know.
It was mine.
When you come to Lissa P's house, anything that you leave and you actually drive out of my driveway, it's mine.
It becomes.
It
was
becomes mine.
Not only was it mine, y'all, it was still in the bag.
It was, but see, I
wasn't
had a
open.
taste for some amaretto. So I
See,
said,
it's amaretto. Oh,
that goes to show you, I don't drink that light stuff. You feel me? So if you got some Captain Morgan 100 proof, I can pronounce that.
Hey,
But
that's-
that other stuff, Armento, Armanto, whatever.
Di Serrano.
If you got some, if it has brown, if it has some color to it, that's when you know I might have jacked you too. I ain't even gonna lie.
See?
But it was brown. It was.
It is brown.
It was. No, it was.
Oh, it
It
was.
gone now.
It
was.
was. It was.
But
it
it's
was.
gross though. It's like it's for lightweights. It's like
Heck,
syrup.
I will be that.
You know, I had Steppin
being
Marcus say,
alcoholic.
let us move on because I know we can go on YouTube fighting. Oh, I'll take it to the head too. I got one right there. You know,
I'm a rebel.
once I get real frustrated, you know, I'm a want to jump in and pour a little bit down the old throat tube here in a minute. So, but let's move on. I want to go and kind of get into the discussion. The first segment, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about some, not so much current events, but just kind of events that are current, if that makes sense. You'll understand why I'm going there in a minute. But I'm going to play a clip. I want to start off by playing a clip. And after you guys have an opportunity to listen to the clip, I want us to talk about it. I led off the show by saying that we're going to have a history lesson. We're going to have a history lesson, and I think you guys are going to be interested in hearing this. Hold on a second. Take a listen.
We look around and we see today in our politics a rich white man telling working class white people that their problem is brown people. We need to understand the historical pedigree of that. That is symbolic of the entire history of race and class politics in America. The history of rich white people telling working class and poor white people that their problem are black and brown people. So beginning in the 1600s, that is what happens. Prior to about 1670 or so, there was no such thing as the white race, at least not recognized as such, called as such. That is not what people of European descent were when they were in Europe. They were English, they were Irish, they were Scottish, they were whatever they were. They were not white. Only in the colonies do we become white, and for a very specific reason, because in those early years of the colonial period, where you had white indentured servants, one level above enslaved themselves, and you had African-descended folks, some of them enslaved for life, others indentured servants also in the earliest years of the colonies. those people would often see their interests as being common. They all realized that they were being screwed over by the same landowners, the same elite. They fomented various rebellions like Bacon's Rebellion in Virginia, others as well. And as a result, the elite in the colonies realized that they had to figure out a way to get the other folks from Europe on their team. So they created this mentality that said, you're now a member of the white race. You're on our team. You're wearing our uniform. Now you're at the end of the bench. You may not get in the game, but you're on our team, you see. So then they start putting white folks, now called, on the slave patrols, right? Didn't really give them any land or any real power except the power to control people of color, which is why folks of color say, and they are right, that modern policing traces to the system of slave patrols and slavery, and we have to be clear on that because that's the history, right? So whiteness was created to divide and conquer, to create the notion that even though you might not have much, at least you're not black, at least you're not indigenous, at least you're not Mexican, at least you're not Chinese working on the railroads to build the transcontinental economy. You may not have much, but at least you have, as W.E.B. Du Bois said, the psychological wage of whiteness. And it's a trick that was played during the Civil War era on my people in the South, right? Rich folk, landowners in the South telling poor white folks who didn't own anything that they got to go out and fight to preserve the rich man's property in human beings. Fascinating. Why would you do that? Why would I go fight for your property? Well, because you told me that if I don't, these slaves are going to take my job. No, fool, they got your job. That's the point. If you got to charge $1 a day and you can make them work for free because you own them, guess who got the gig, Jack? Not you. So in fact, the system of enslavement was in the long run against the class interest of working class white folks, but they got suckered. Same thing happened in the union movement. You had white labor union folks who didn't want black and brown bodies in their union because it would reduce the professionalism of the craft. No, fool, it'll double the size of your union. And then when you go out on strike, they can't replace your happy ass with the brown folk that you didn't want next to you in the first place. Because when they do replace you with them, then you will blame them, not the elite. See how that works? It's a trick. And it has worked for hundreds of years. It is working on some folk right now. And it is our job to resist that with every fiber of our being.
Do you folks understand why I love history so much right now?
Ain't no half Steppin with Marcus J. Live from the Dan Legacy Internet Radio. Many folks who listen to this show know who that was. Of course, that was Tim Wise, who is a white man. I'll put that out there. I don't know that it matters, but I'll put that out there. I know that there are a lot of conservatives that have issues with him because of the things he says, of course, starting with that last piece. But when we talk a lot about supremacy in this country, and I know a lot of times people get kind of in their feelings when we hear the phrase white supremacy. I don't actually use that phrase in a negative sense, even though it is a negative sense. I like to define it kind of intellectually as opposed to emotionally. Intellectually, I mean, the fact remains that the country was founded by white people. The Constitution was written by white people, white men in particular. They weren't thinking about women, and they weren't thinking about people of color. They were thinking about themselves. They were thinking about the rich among them. And so when I play that clip, there are lots of pieces of it that play out in today's logic. If you look at a lot of Republicans, for example, particularly the rural poor ones, those folks vote the same way that uber rich people vote. Like your Mitt Romney is going to vote the same way as someone who lives in a very rural area here in Richmond, Virginia. And so what I wanted to do basically was to kind of play that clip and just kind of open up the discussion. So Facebook Live, if you want some of this, listeners, if you want some of this, 804-402-2893 is the number to dial. That is the number to dial if you want to be a part of the discussion. Anybody who is here that wants to get into that, feel free. But I wanted to play that clip kind of as a history, as a kind of a history piece, because I want to talk about Donald Trump a little bit as well. Because I get, quite frankly, I'm really confused by this dude. Like, confused not so much by him because I know Donald Trump. I've been watching Donald Trump for 25 years, 30 years. I grew up in the area. I've been watching him do what he does pretty much my entire adult life. But I want to know what folks think of him. I'm going to play this clip. I'm not going to tell you what the gist of it is, but I'm going to play another clip, kind of different from the last one, but I want to kind of talk about the two of them holistically. Take a listen to this, and I'm going to get the crew back in on Donald Trump and is he this?
Loaded word. I think we should be really careful about simply tossing it around in a political season. So I wanted to go back and look at the evidence. And so I looked back over 45 years. And, frankly, it's pretty devastating. I started in the 1970s when the Nixon White House, which was not a famous champion of civil rights exactly, sued the Trump organization, of which Donald was then the president, for systematically denying blacks access to the apartments that the Trump organization owned. You wade through more than 1,000 pages from this lawsuit, and it repeatedly shows that a white tester would go to a Trump apartment and be shown several apartments immediately available. A black person, as a tester, would go and be told that nothing was available. Trump employees said that applications for apartments by black people were coded, C for colored, so that the central office would know to deny them.
Nicholas, so that was in the 70s. So you went back and looked at these reams and reams of documentation and showed that there was discrimination being practiced at the Trump real estate organization then. That was the 70s. Then what did you find in the 80s and the 90s?
So, essentially this pattern continues. Trump moves into the casino business. A former Trump casino worker who was black says that when Donald Trump visited the casino in Atlantic City, the blacks would all be taken off the floor and herded into a back room. The former president of the Trump casino in Atlantic City wrote a 1991 book in which he talked about Donald Trump trying to get him to fire a black accountant, saying he doesn't want blacks to count his money, saying that blacks are lazy, quoting...
Yeah, Nick, the account has been out there. He's referring to a story where supposedly Trump had said, I only want certain types of people counting my money, not a black guy. But, as you know, Nick, what's the counter? The counter is very hard to pin down. That guy never came forward. And when you get to people close around Trump and who've known him, they say he isn't a racist, and that you're talking about things that an organization did. Many organizations do them. Doesn't make them right, but doesn't make him a racist. Your take?
In any one incident, I think there is ambiguity. But where you have a pattern for 45 years in the real estate business, in the real estate company that Trump headed, then in the casinos, then more recently, we have Trump this year twice retweeting a tweet from white genocide with a photo of the founder of the American Nazi Party. I think it's fair to provide some leeway, but over 45 years, you simply see this consistent pattern, and I don't know what else to call what emerges except racism.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. Big Sis, I want you to jump in here because I played those two clips back to back because I wanted to try to highlight the history of our country and how we've gotten to a point where a person like Donald Trump is leading a major party in our country. When we look at supremacy in the way that I defined it a minute ago, if you take the emotion out of it and you just basically call it what it is, 62% of the population, it is what it is. If you were 62% of the population, you'd want stuff to be your way too. And if you look at how Donald Trump has emerged and you look at what his history is, what do you think? Jump in here.
You can't think anything other than something's freaking wrong. There's really nothing else to think. Like he said at the end of this, it just reeks racism from the first video clip to the second video clip. I can't really take my feelings out of white supremacy. I can't take my feelings out of that. So I can't even answer you the way you want me to answer you.
No, I just want you to answer it the way you want to answer it. Yeah, I'm not trying to steer you.
It's just racism. It's just hate. And, listening to this clip with Donald Trump, I don't even see why anybody wants to even work for his ass.
Right.
I wouldn't want to work for him.
I look at Donald, honestly, I struggle with my feelings with regards to him and racism. I think with Donald, it's more classism. I think in his mind, you're not in my class. And you ain't got to be black to not be in his class. Like, you just got to not be rich. You know what I mean? Like, I struggle with that because then I know about the Central Park 5 case. You know, those cats are just a few years older than I am. And so I remember going through watching the news media excoriate these 5 boys who were, for those folks who don't know the case, Google it. But the short version is these 5 boys in Central Park were accused of raping this woman, and they went to jail and everything, and they were eventually exonerated. And while they were in jail, everybody wanted these terrible punishment for them, which at the time they thought they were guilty. So we want them to be punished to the full extent of the law. But when they were exonerated, you know, Donald Trump was one of the largest proponents for these guys to basically have the worst possible penalty. And when they were exonerated, he refused to apologize for anything that he has said. He refused to retract any of his negative statements, and he refused to even acknowledge the fact that they were exonerated. And, you know, that's difficult. Then, of course, the whole slumlord thing that we just heard there in that clip. So I don't know. I don't know. When I think about somebody like Gary Johnson, who is the Libertarian candidate, who is the person who I've already endorsed, who I will be voting for, unless he says something stupid, which is possible. But he actually thinks that the two-party system is failing. And so I want to get the First Lady to jump in on this one. We're talking about red and blue, blood and cuz, the purple people.
Oh, okay.
The Republicans and the Democrats.
Some of the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah, man. I think both sides are freaking idiots personally. But what you think?
Well, I think right now everybody is enjoying Donald Trump for almost like a sideshow, like a freak show. So I really don't think a lot of people like him for right now because unfortunately he's saying a lot of things that other people are afraid to say. Now, when it comes down to November, I really don't think he's going to get the votes. But by me saying that, next thing you know, he'll be our president. I was also listening to you, Marcus J., and looking at your Legacy Internet Radio fan page about Gary Johnson. And I said, wow, even though I still don't know much about him, that'll probably be the way that I go. But I feel like that Trump is just a clown. I feel like that he is very disrespectful. And I feel like he really doesn't have a place to be the commander-in-chief, you know, especially over me, because I already feel like that he's sending me back where he think I came from. So I'd rather stay here, Trump, please.
But what about those folks who we know and we love and we trust who are supporting Donald Trump? Because one of the things that I'm finding out right now.
You know somebody I know?
Well, I mean, you don't run neck and neck in the polls with the other party unless there are people supporting you. And just by virtue of us being Americans, we know people. Well, especially Americans in Virginia. We know people who is rocking with him. And so, you know, I think that we would be unwise to not take him very serious. I remember a year ago, and Big Sis, you might remember, when he first started rising to prominence, I was telling people, y'all better not be.
And you know, I said, he gonna drop out. He gonna drop out.
And what did I say to you?
No, he's not. No,
yeah.
he's not.
You know, because the thing with Donald Trump, it was never like people like that. It's a power thing. Like,
I think he's playing us. I really still think he's playing us.
Donald Trump, you know, see, where I thought it was insulting was people who actually think, and I mean, no disrespect to these folks, but people who actually think that Donald Trump was in this for the Clintons. That's crazy to me. Dude's a megalomaniac. Do you really think that he would take this time and spend his own money so that he would go and help somebody else?
Well, damn, he already said, you know, I can say and do anything and you idiots will still vote for me.
Absolutely. He said that he can stand in the middle of the street.
And he's probably still doing and saying anything and watching these idiots endorse him more and more and more. And I'm going to lean toward Lissa P saying, you know, maybe when November comes, we're going to see a different picture. I can't freaking imagine him being president. Who the hell is going to run the real estate empire?
Well, I mean, the dude has never been elected to an office.
It just can't happen.
I think it can.
James Evans will come alive first.
Ain't no how Steppin with Marcus J. Live from the Dan Legacy Internet Radio. First Lady, jump in here.
Hey. Okay, well, no, what I really want to do is introduce a great friend of mine and her daughter, who is here today in Legacy Internet Radio Studios. Let me introduce her. Her name is Dee, and Dee is actually a 911 dispatcher. Unfortunately, we cannot say the region that she is a part of, but she came today, and I felt like that she needed to come today as far as the discussion that we're having,
Absolutely.
as far as for the elections, and as far as the things that's been going on with the police. So I felt like she would be great. And call her what you want to, but this is my boo. I call her my great white hope. So therefore, you know that we're going to have great opinions because she's my white homie, and I love her. And then, of course, her daughter is here as well, Miss Lexi Boo, my supermodel sugar wooger. So, introducing her in that way. Dee, first of all, welcome to Legacy Internet Radio. Mm-hmm. And then I want you to go ahead and get in on the combo, how you feel about Donald Trump. And we're not just going to say because you white, that's who you voting for. I want
to make it clear.
We know you got a whole lot of soul in that, Dee. So, yeah, tell everybody what you think about as far as, the whole Trump thing and what you're hearing.
I'm with you on that. I don't really agree with a lot of the things that he's been saying. As far as different races and making fun of people and so on and so forth. So I'm kind of against him too right now.
Do you think that he is destroying the Republican Party? Or
I do.
You do?
I do.
Do you typically, just you personally, how do you normally find yourself voting? You normally vote Republican? You normally vote Democrat? Just you personally?
I try to watch both sides. I don't really have a labeled side. It just depends on their viewpoints on the topic.
You like me. I like you already. You don't get caught up in partisan politics. Right. You vote for who rides in your spirit. That's what's up. When you look at what's going on with him, you got a lot of folks that ain't feeling him. And this is for everybody. You got a lot of folks that ain't feeling him. I find it curious that not one former president has endorsed him. I find it also curious that none of the previous Republican nominees, Willard Romney, they like to call him Mitt, and John McCain, the last two that I could think of, I guess, I don't remember who ran against, what's the dude's name? Bill Clinton. I don't remember who ran against him. But anyway, the point is, and none of the Bushes. Laura Bush actually said she's probably going to vote for Hillary, which is crazy as hell to me. But having said all of that, I think the dude is destroying their party. And, I'm one of those people. I try to be fair. I look at the doctrine of the party, and if they didn't have so many crazy people, there'd be some stuff that we could actually vote for.
Now, really, I want to also, and I don't know, by you being in this new young generation, Lexi, if you don't mind me saying your age, you just turned 19. Happy belated birthday, Booski.
Happy birthday.
Now, my thing is, are you really into politics? Are you really, paying attention as far as Donald, Hillary? I said Donald. What's his name? Oh, yeah, that is his
Donald.
name. Yeah, that's him. Sorry. Whoa. Put this down. But, yeah, seriously, you coming in, and you really just being able to vote not too long ago, how do you feel about it?
I've been keeping up with this debate actually a lot.
Go ahead, Lexi Boo. Yes, that's my boo, my brainiac boo. Go ahead.
Because, I want the country to turn out okay with everyone running it. And honestly, Trump is the biggest joke that I've ever seen.
I love Lexi.
He's not a politician. He's a celebrity. That's all he is. That's why none of the other presidents have endorsed him, because they know if he goes into office, he's not going to do anything. He doesn't know a single thing about politics, which is why he skates over every single issue. Mm-hmm. I mean, he goes up on the stage and he talks about how big his dick is.
Hey, girl, drop that mic.
And makes fun of other politicians. That's not someone I want to see running the United States of America.
That's
I like her.
Drop that mic, girl.
I like her.
That little genius.
Absolutely like her.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can dig it.
Being like a figure skater. I hear you, Lexi.
I can dig it. What I want to do, I want to kind of talk a little bit about, is he destroying the party? Because there's a Republican, what's the guy called? He's like an analyst. His name is Avik Roy, and he's someone who wrote this kind of breakdown of the normal Republican and how Donald Trump is not one of them. Quote, "I don't think the Republican Party and the conservative movement are capable of reforming themselves in an incremental and gradual way. There's got to be some disruption." What he's basically saying is, it's a lot of shit with the Republicans over the years and, legacy-wise. But Donald Trump ain't making it no better. Basically, he goes into talking about how they got to be the way they are. I won't get into all of those talking points, but many of us feel that there's a lot of racism that comes out of that party. Tell me you guys' opinions. And Solo, you can jump in here if you want to at any point. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, we could talk about that. I mean, I could tell you what my thoughts are, but I kind of want to get a round table. 804-402-2893. When you look at, I don't want to pick on the Republicans because I don't think that the Democrats are great. I actually think that in some ways, depending on how you view them, they're worse in some ways. Because they're the party that takes everybody for granted. They take you for granted. Black folk vote Democratic in the high 90 percentile. Everybody wants to talk about how Barack Hussein Obama was elected president because of black folk. No, he was elected president because he's a Democrat. It was time for a Democrat to be the president because we just had 8 years of failed policies from the Republicans. So whoever they would have put up there would have probably won. So let's not do that, because I think he got like 99 or 97% of the black vote, and black folk typically vote like 96% Democrat anyway. So, I kind of went on a tangent there, but what's you guys' thoughts? I mean, the two-party system, I mean, I've been on this big kick about how we need to do something about that. What do you guys think? Anybody?
On whether or not
do you think, and I'll ask a question as opposed to laying it out there. Here's my question.
Okay.
Is the Democrats any better than the Republicans? Why or why not?
No.
Why or why not?
It's pretty much basically what you already said. Everybody tells you what they want to hear. Everybody tells you what you want to hear. And this is how we get you to vote. So you play on all the sympathies that the so-called Democrats would want. Better jobs, more pay, better this for black folks, better that for poor folks. So you play on that, and then you play with, we're going to clean up the neighborhood, we're going to give you a little bit of this, we're going to lower your taxes. Then we play on what the Republicans want to hear. Everybody, it's a game. I know what you want, and I'm going to tell you what you want. Tell you what you want to hear so I can get what I want to get. That's really it. Nobody's any better. It's up to us to just be wiser and really, really study who's running, what they're going for, check out that history, see what they've done, make sure your actions or your words, they stand true. If not, it's just going to be the same. We're going to be the same spot.
And I totally agree with SY, because I just feel like this. They're taking us like, and yes, I'm going to do some male bashing. It's just like a man in a relationship telling us that he loves us just so he can get the booty duty. So therefore, yes, you're going to tell me what I want to hear in order for you to get the cheeks. So therefore, come November, if you all want to clap y'all back for somebody who's not right for the house, then you just go right on ahead. But again, like she says, you need to do your research. You need to know who you're actually voting for. But again, a lot of people are lazy, so they're just going to go for the party that they've been used to voting for, or that their family has been used to voting for. So, I mean, a lot of people don't have minds of their own. And like I said, even if you look at the people, I mean, how many people are out there supporting him at his rallies, and they're just getting so belligerent and just out of control. And I'm like, really? You all go to this for what? This is just pure entertainment. It's not even something from you to learn from. I mean, like you said, you never go to hear what I still don't know what his policies are. I still don't know what he wants to do for the country. I don't know. Is he going to push the red button when he's upset? When he wants to fire somebody, is he going to push the red button? Yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. Like, seriously. I mean, I don't know. I just don't want
Can
him
you
to treat me
imagine
like
the
a
BS
relationship.
if he made it to be
God.
president? Can you imagine the BS we'd be bumping into?
One of the things that tripped me out, I'm no Hillary fan, but I sat and found myself engulfed in the DNC and the RNC. I'm just one of those people, I like to watch that stuff, particularly when there's someone that I'm familiar with, whether I like them or not. If I'm familiar with them, I'm a little bit more interested in hearing what they're going to say. And so I watched the Trump children. I've always been very impressed with Ivanka Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is just a brilliant woman. So I thought she did a fabulous. I think she did just an outstanding job. And at the end of the day, they support their daddy. You can't really fault them. They support their daddy.
Right.
They just support their daddy. But when Hillary said that, I can't remember if she said it in her speech, but she did say it. She was like, how are we supposed to, and I'm going to say it my own hood style, how are we going to be rocking with a dude who can get riled up off of Twitter? 140 characters, and he ready to fight. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of funny because it's like, the slightest little thing. It's the slightest little thing. And we're going to talk a little bit about his followers in the next segment, and we're going to talk a little bit about keyboard gangsters and social media and how some
Keyboard
killers, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, we're going to take our first break of the night. We got a whole crew in here tonight. I appreciate everybody being here. Facebook Live, continue rocking with us. We're going to come back. We're going to shut y'all down. We're going to bring y'all back up in a minute. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're doing a little serious stuff, but I promise you, when we get to the fun stuff, y'all going to wish that we did this every single week. Marcus J and the crew, ain't no half stepping with me and you. Be back in a few.
Dr. Seuss.
You a rapper now.
Yeah, right. That was straight.